Oh, welcome to Interesting to See. Man. Free kick on a right there for Liverpool in their FA Cup final against Chelsea. I'm going to watch that one more time. Watch this kick. Watch how far away it is. It's not even close. Look at that. Bam, gone. Well, that's the keeper right there taking that shot. The keepers have to go, and penalty kicks, all 11 have to go. This is your daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling. Quick announcement. I was gone last week due to the unexpected passing of my dear Aunt Lorraine. Thank you for condolences for those of you that were close to me and reached out. I really appreciate it. It was the first time we missed a podcast other than holidays since I started doing this, and it's a good reason to miss, so had to go take care of some family business there. Got a lot to talk about. College basketball is heating up. NBA and NHL are getting fun. We are, however, going to start with FIFA right there. That is the EFL Cup, which is one of the three cups that's available in England that the English love to win, and they get a trophy, and it's a big deal. The EFL Cup, the FA Cup, and, of course, the Premier League Championship. So Liverpool win on free kicks there, but we got to move over to what's going on in Russia. I got some Russian news. I guess we'll play this for you. This is a video from, I think this was, I forget who this was. Was this Man City and someone else? You can watch. There are two Ukrainian players that moved to the middle there, and they're just going to go embrace real quick. These are Ukrainian national players. Going to say hi to each other before kickoff of their game. Kind of a big moment there, and everybody saw what was going on, and they gave the crowd a what's up. And yeah, I think that's Man City. Kind of an intense moment there, and so we're going to get into what's going on around the world regarding Ukraine. The first big moment, as you can see here from this headline, if you're watching on YouTube, FIFA has imposed penalties on Russia, but they are not going to ban them from the World Cup yet. I think that is like the nuclear option, obviously, which is not really a good metaphor to use right now. But they announced, as you can see in the article right here, quote, the FIFA announced initial measures concerning Russia. As part of the FIFA imposed penalties, Russia will have to compete under the name Football Union of Russia, which is similar to what happened in the Olympics. They're not going to play any national anthem, and they're going to continue to ramp up problems. They're not going to be allowed to host events, and people are considering forcing FIFA's hand to not allow them to go. Of course, we remember the World Cup was in Russia a little while ago, and that obviously was super sketchy. How did they get the World Cup, I wonder? Yeah, they're crooks, obviously. But that's FIFA, one of the dirtiest organizations in all of sports. So they're one of the organizations ramping up efforts. FIDE, which is the International Chess Organization. Chess is a huge deal in Russia. Probably, I would say, like 8 of the top 15 players are Russian. That's just a guess. And of the others, there are 2 or 3 other Eastern Europeans, including Polacks, and I think even a Ukrainian won the European Open recently. There are 2 Russians that are pro-Putin, and they have been banned from FIDE and other chess streaming websites like chess.com. So these organizations are ramping up the pressure on Russia. Is that geopolitical? No, it's just what's happening in sports. I am for not invading foreign countries for the most part. Sometimes it is appropriate, but it is certainly not appropriate in this moment. Move along. Let's do some NFL football stuff. So there's a podcast breaking down what's going on with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader situation. So we know that something Dalrymple, this guy, was creeping on cheerleaders. He had like a voyeurism situation. He was caught videotaping them, and then there were comments about Jerry Jones's role in all of this, and there didn't seem anything inappropriate. However, Texas Monthly, the podcast, had this one woman who was a cheerleader. Her name was Sarah Hepola. Said that she was invited, quote unquote, invited to go on Jerry's private jet, but she was required to wear and you see right here, famous skimpy uniform, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader uniform. And she said it was very raunchy and inappropriate. And everyone's like, I don't know that this is going to be a thing. If we're to catch you up on this, Rich Dalrymple was the former PR executive for the Dallas Cowboys, and he was caught spying and creeping on these cheerleaders. The Cowboys, this didn't make any big news because the Cowboys paid off some cheerleaders with these allegations for $2.4 million. Well, these cheerleaders are still super pissed, obviously. This is a sexual crime That's what voyeurism is. But instead of going to court, a lot of them just took the settlement, which, I mean, you're not going to get that much, and it's going to be difficult. Obviously, in court, it's difficult to prove a criminal situation. This is happening with Deshaun Watson. And if you're going to get a big settlement, there's no reason to go to court, because the way that you punish people for doing this kind of thing is you sue them and you get them to pay money. That's this next best thing from jail time in the eyes of the United States justice system. So the Cowboys and many organizations, any organization, any business, pay off. They sign a settlement, but part of the settlement is an NDA. Now, this woman, Sarah, she obviously is not part of the NDA, and so I think that this is going to become more and more and more of a scandal. I suspect that Jerry's final years alive are going to be not great if more of this kind of shit starts to leak out, but we shall see. A little bit better news. Amazon is interested in Kirk Herbstreit for Thursday Night Football. This is according to a report from the New York Post, who is so great at getting the media gossip. The best Monday Night Football game last year was during the Monday Night Football doubleheader when Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler did it. Now, they are ESPN's A crew. Now, Monday Night Football has reportedly offered a lot of money to Al Michaels to do it. Al Michaels is probably done with ESPN. Trey Aikman's probably done with Fox. Nobody knows who's doing what, but Amazon is looking into Kirk Herbstreit, who I love. And college football and college game day has gotten a bit stale for me. Barstool Sports has a college football game day show that's a little better. Fox has a college football game day show who's not as good as ESPN game day, but it's not bad. So people are starting to copy this idea, and now we're seeing a situation where they're just going to go talent hunting. Amazon is not interested in losing stuff. They don't lose. So they're going to go after Kirk. There he is right there. There's no reported number in this article from Pro Football Talk, but I guess it's still possible, according to Florio and according to the report right here, that Herbstreit will be able to continue his work on ESPN. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? Thursday Night Football has become my favorite primetime game of the week. That's just me. Last football news before we get on to some basketball stuff. The Colts are proposing an overtime rule change. We don't know what their proposal is going to be, but they put their name on the agenda for the owners' meetings, which is coming up in a couple weeks, to talk about overtime rule changes, because it isn't fair that it's dependent on a coin toss. Of course, the Bills and the Chiefs thing, the Chiefs won because they won the coin toss, but then the Chiefs, ironically, they had an overtime situation against the Bengals 2 weeks later. 1 week later? 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, right? I don't remember. In the AFC Championship, there was overtime again, and the Chiefs won the toss, but they lost the game, so who the hell knows? Of course, the Chiefs proposed a rule change after they were screwed by the coin toss thing against the Patriots a couple years ago, so we'll keep you updated on all of that. How about some baseball stuff? 3 negotiating sessions for the MLB yesterday. That's not really a sport right now. It's just people that don't want to play, so I'm not going to talk about it until it gets solved. I just do not care. Figure your shit out. It's rich people and super rich people, and I can't care about that. However, Ole Miss defensive lineman, I figure I can get his name correctly right here. He's a 4-star D tackle. So Ole Miss has gotten this guy named John Rice Plumlee and Jerrion Ealy. They were recruits 3 or 4 years ago. Jerrion Ealy will be drafted this year, and these guys are huge recruits, super speedy. Why'd they go to Ole Miss? The same reason that 4-star defensive tackle. Wait, what is his name? Why does Barstool not have his name? Guys, report the news. What are we doing here? His name is Tywone Malone. There we go. See, I figured it out. He's a 4-star recruit. He's a true freshman. How does Ole Miss get these guys? Well, they love playing baseball, and Ole Miss is like, yeah, whatever, you can play some baseball. Yesterday, he got his first career at bat as a true freshman in SEC play at SEC home stadiums. If you are losing by 10 or more after the 7th inning, the game is called for a mercy rule, just because in baseball, you can get some crazy scores by 20 or 30. So this is his second career at bat. This is a defensive tackle. Watch this. Oh, my goodness.
Malone runs into this one, and it's his first career home run as an Ole Miss Rebel.
Look at that, man. That's not him.
2-run moonshot
Oh,
over
my
the
goodness.
center field wall will walk off this ball game.
What a great recruiting tactic for Ole Miss, with just allowing these guys, just allowing them to play baseball. Why not? Who cares? Anymore, a lot of scouts in the NFL, when they go to the NFL draft, are one of the ways that they split hairs between prospects is they look at guys who were multi-sport athletes. And they prefer multi-sport athletes. That's the thing that is happening. Okay, let's move on to some basketball stuff. Or wait. Did I have one more? Yes, we have to talk about this. Since we're doing baseball, we got to talk about Tommy Tanks. Tommy Tanks is this true freshman for NC State. He's been playing 8 games of college baseball in his career, and he has hit now 9 home runs. 9. Tommy effing Tanks. Boom.
And White puts a charge into this one.
Tommy White.
It is high. It is deep. And he has done it again, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy White.
Tommy Tanks.
Oh, my goodness.
He sounds like a Yankee already. Yankees fans are freaking out. I'm not sure if he was drafted. We'll look into him. This is a hot situation. I didn't really do much research into him because it's college baseball. 9 home runs in 8 games is a video game stat. Now, right now, all of the good teams in college baseball, like NC State, like Ole Miss, they're not playing anybody really serious at this point in the season. So we'll see if this defensive lineman and if Tommy Tanks can continue their run moving forward. Huge, huge, epic, monumental day, historic day in college basketball. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all lost. Were they all on the road? Let's see. I think they were all on the road. So we had a bunch of court stormings happening. So Gonzaga, they lost on the road to St. Mary's, who was undefeated at home. See that right here? St. Mary's undefeated at home. Baylor, they beat Kansas at home. Arizona beats Colorado, or Colorado beats Arizona at home. And some of these are shit stompings, a lot of these. Baylor, 10-point win. Colorado, 16-point win over number 2 Arizona. St. Mary's, 10-point win over Gonzaga. Last second win for Michigan State over Purdue. And number 3, that's right, Auburn on the road to Tennessee. They lose, and Arkansas beats Kentucky 6-18. Everyone talking about Kentucky's team got up and walked away with about 30 seconds left in the game, or 10 seconds or whatever. They all went to the locker room because they were scared of the court storming. Last time Arkansas stormed the court, we played the video. It was crazy. There were flashing lights, and there was fire and shit. So I don't blame them for that. If I were a college basketball coach, I know that college guys don't intend. Usually nobody really gets hurt, but we've seen some weird shit happen during court stormings and field stormings. So if I were a coach, I've said that for a long time. Just go to the other coach and be like, hey, can we get the fuck out of here, please? Like, don't hurt us. What are we doing? So huge, huge weekend in college basketball. I don't really care about any of the other situations in college basketball other than when their big guys go down. Everything else is essentially par for the course. It's looking like this will be the first time in a long time, maybe last year I guess you could say too, where there are 16 teams that can win a national championship, and it wouldn't be all that surprising. In the NBA, the Sixers had their second game with James Harden. Harden and Embiid are going off together, Tyronn Maxey, so that trade has appeared to work out. The Sixers beat the Knicks. James Harden, 29 points. Joel Embiid, 37 points. He leads the NBA with the most 30-point games in the season. The Jazz beat the Suns on the road. The Jazz are hanging around despite the injury situations that they have. The Sixers are currently 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. They're 1 game up on Cleveland, 1.5 games back of the Bulls, who are the surprising team number 1 in the East, the Miami Heat. In the West, it's Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Jazz. After the Jazz, there's a pretty significant fall. The Jazz themselves are 10 games back of the Suns. The Warriors are 6 games back. So the Suns are the best team in professional basketball. Kind of by a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty significant margin. Let's look at the NBA future bets for professional basketball. This is to win the NBA championship. So in my opinion, you can't win an NBA championship unless you have a top 5, top 10 player in the world. The Miami Heat do not. Jimmy Butler a couple years ago, maybe. The Suns have a couple, mostly Devin Booker. Golden State has 2-ish on any given night. Brooklyn has 1.5-ish on any given night, depending on if A, Kyrie is there, and B, Ben Simmons cares. The Bucks have the best player in the world. The Sixers have the hottest player in the world and the best shooter in the world. In my opinion, they're the only 5 that can win. The Sixers have the best odds. That makes them the easy bet. They're 7-1. Right there. So I like the Sixers to win the NBA championship. I like betting on the Sixers to win the NBA championship. That's what I like. NFL futures are out right now. This is all pre-roster changes. The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs are by far the favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. Then there's a little bit of a drop. Then there's Rams, Niners, Packers, Cowboys, followed by the Ravens. And after that, it just kind of ekes all the way up to the big underdogs, which are the Lions at plus 12,000. The Jets at plus 15,000, and the Houston Texans at plus 18,000. NFL drafts, the odds-on favorite to go number 1 overall is Evan Neal. People have sort of figured out that the Jaguars need an offensive line. This is an interesting time to bet. I think that it can. Aiden Hutchinson at plus 250 and Kayvon Thibodeau at plus 1,100 are great bets right now, and I'll tell you why. Because their free agency has not happened. So because of that, nobody knows what's going to happen. So if you're an NFL bettor like I am, I think I'm going to bet on Kayvon Thibodeau to go first overall. I also like Malik Willis and Matt Corral to go first overall because, get this, they're quarterbacks. I know Jacksonville has Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, duh. But other people don't. And if in years where there are no really mega elite quarterback prospects, trading down becomes cheaper. So Jacksonville becomes more likely to just take whatever's there because the difference between Hutchinson and Thibodeau and the next guys isn't an enormous, crazy drop. And neither is it between Akeem Ekwonu, Evan Neal, Charles Cross, those 3 tackle prospects. If they were to trade down to, say, 10, they'd probably get whoever they wanted. So they just seem more likely to take that trade. So Matt Corral at plus 10,000, Sam Howell at plus 10,000, and Aiden Hutchinson at plus 250, and Kayvon Thibodeau at plus 1,100. I love those bets. I love it. The draft is where I usually make my money, folks. But also, I think that preseason is where I make my money. First quarterback off the board, Kenny Pickett is the odds-on favorite by an enormous margin. Him and Malik Willis are very close to each other. Then a big margin, Sam Howell. Then a big margin, and Matt Corral. I think Corral and Howell. The Howell thing is interesting. I don't know what people know. Plus 10,000 for Billy Zappi, who is the Western Kentucky, that guy that everybody loves. He also has, obviously, the coolest name in the NFL draft, Billy Zappi. Love that guy. Get you out of here on this. The Benfica striker Yaremchuk. I don't really know how to pronounce Ukrainian names. Working on that, obviously. He gets subbed in, and the captain of his squad gives him the captain's armband. And as a big moment, people in Europe really pulling forward. Ukraine will be back and better than ever tomorrow morning. Like, rate, review, subscribe. There he is, getting subbed in. Big moment. The captain taking off the captain armband, and he knows what's going on. Benfica wins 3-0 over the weekend. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. All that stuff is available in the show notes. See you tomorrow.